Paralysed following an accident, Patrick Colson suffered from sharp pains and cramps in his legs. Drugs and chemical treatments no longer helped. He turned towards hypnosis with Dr. Faymonville at the Liège hospital.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Just fine. Really, it's a completely new life. Yes, completely. In terms of my pain, I can manage to get above it, to manage it more easily. So when I'm in pain...
You do the hypnosis exercise?
I do the hypnosis exercise. I can really feel it go. Socially, it's just nothing like before. I've got a real social life now. I was really bitter. I've dropped the level of drugs I have to take by around 50%.
Oh, yes, you were taking a lot before.
Huge.
Good, and it's all thanks to yourself.
And to you.
Well, I may have handed you the keys, but you opened the door, and it's important that you know that.
Hypnosis acts like an internal voice that modifies our perception of reality, reprogramming our perception of a situation or a sensation.
As far as the perception of pain is concerned, we can see here all this network which lights up, which activates when we're in pain in a state of normal wakefulness. Whereas under hypnosis, you can see that there's a lot less activity. A little brain activity can still be seen in the primary sensory cortex, so the subject is still feeling something, but it's being interpreted differently. There's less suffering, if you like, although there is always some perception of what's happening.
When somebody experiences pain, we see activity in multiple areas of the brain. It goes to the sensory cortex, which processes where the stimulation was, how big it was. It also goes to the limbic system, anterior cingulate cortex, where information is processed about, is this something I should be worried about? Is this something that should make me suffer and make me frightened? It also goes to the other parts of the brain, the frontal cortex, that processes, what does this sensation mean? Is it dangerous or is it okay? When all those work together to say the body is in danger, the brain then creates pain. All these parts of the brain that interact to create the pain experience work together, and by influencing any one of them, you can decrease pain.
Dr. Disson?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Welcome to the study.
Thank you.
Appreciate your participation. Here, let me take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
Dr. Jensen is trying to evaluate the effects of hypnosis on patients suffering from chronic pain.
Before the first session, we're going to be calling you to assess outcomes, how much you're hurting, your sleep quality, and different outcomes such as that. And then we'll ask you to get an EEG assessment, electroencephalography. You'll come back and you'll have 4 sessions with me, and then after treatment, have a second EEG assessment, because we anticipate that the treatment will have some specific effects on your brain activity.
At the Cerebral Imagery Center, the patient taking part in the study has an initial electroencephalogram. This records a profile of the brain waves, which is used as a reference point before the first hypnosis session.
And now you can imagine, you can experience any uncomfortable sensations as an image or an object. Perhaps it's a knot of ropes or a fire. Perhaps it's a color. Whatever image that represents those uncomfortable sensations. And in your mind's eye, you can place that object into a box. It's a thick, strong, insulated box. So those sensations are muffled. It's like they're farther away.
After the hypnosis sessions, the patient returns to the imagery center for a new electroencephalogram.
Okay, so today we'll be taking another recording to compare with the first one.
Sure.
When you came in before. I'm going to ask that you close your eyes and use whatever skills or techniques you learned.
EEG recordings allow us to understand the effects of hypnosis on brain activity. With hypnosis, we see a greater increase in this very slow wave activity called theta waves.
These waves correspond to a relaxed state and improve mental availability.
One of the things we found in our studies is that many patients report not only that their pain is reduced, but they had these other beneficial effects as well. They're sleeping better, they feel more calm, they feel more in control of their emotions. How are you doing?
That was very relaxing.
So hypnosis has side effects, but they're universally beneficial. You compare that to medications for pain, such as opioids, that cause constipation, that cause breathing difficulties, that you can get a tolerance for, even addicted to. If there were a drug that produced the pain reduction benefits of hypnosis, plus gave you a sense of well-being, a sense of control, a sense of calmness, that drug would be a blockbuster. Everybody would be on that drug. You'd be a billionaire. But hypnosis is free. I mean, once you learn it, you have it.
However, for 150 years, medicine has favored chemical and drug treatments for pain. The invention of anesthetics, such as ether in 1850, and then later nitrous oxide, opened the way to domination by chemical anesthesia, and medical hypnosis was forgotten. For several years, certain practitioners have been rediscovering its virtues, especially in anesthesia during surgical operations. At the Liège hospital, Dr. Joyce has become a specialist in hypnotic anesthesia.
Hello, madam, how are you?
Before the operation, he goes over the key points he has established with the patient in a previous consultation.
So I'm going to remind you that if you want a little definition of hypnosis, as I said yesterday, hypnosis is a modified state of consciousness. So it's not a dream, it isn't sleep, you remain conscious, and so you'll keep your perceptions and you'll feel the surgeon touching your throat. So it's a modified state of consciousness, and what modifies it will be a memory that you'll relive. It's really a natural process.
This patient, who will undergo a thyroid operation, has opted for hypnosedation, which is a combination of hypnosis and local anesthetic. 8,000 patients have already been operated in this way at the Liège hospital.
You'll feel this sensation of comfort spreading closer and closer, a little like waves making their way up a beach.
Dr. Joris will, little by little, guide the patient to pleasant memories of an afternoon she spent bathing in hot springs that she has chosen to relive.
While I'm moving your head a little, you can imagine that you're having a nice bath or a shower. And while your throat is being wiped with a cool liquid, imagine what you will feel is the shower water trickling over your throat, around your neck, over your shoulders. And as it runs over your body, it increases your feeling of comfort even more. And now what happens around you in the room doesn't matter to you anymore. You're just listening to my voice and the music. And while a piece of material is placed over your face, you'll just sit there calmly.
Hypnosedation reduces operation stress appreciably, as well as the secretion of hormones linked to this.
We've been able to show that under hypnosedation, the production of hormones is less than is released when a general anesthetic is administered. But what's even more astonishing and interesting is that when there is surgery, there is inevitably an inflammatory reaction. But we've been able to show that hypnosedation reduces the intensity of that inflammatory reaction.
From the surgeon's point of view, hypnosedation has other advantages.
We realized that bleeding was easier to control because the patient was in a more natural state, and there was better vascular control than there is under general anesthetic.
Hypnosedation doesn't change surgery at all. The anaesthetist has a different role from what they must perform for a general anesthetic using chemicals.
A general anesthetic is a reversible pharmacological coma. And let me tell you further that despite all the research, the deeper mechanisms by which our anesthetic agents function are still not very well understood. So you'll see that if this state of coma can be avoided by using another technique, well, I think that's all the better for the patient. And the proof of the benefit of avoiding that coma is clearly that post-operative recovery is faster. Good evening, Madam Cray. How are you? Everything going well? Are you happy about it?
It went well, really well. I was in the Springs, so I had a nice day. There you are, it was good. I could feel that I was in surgery, but really, in my head, I was somewhere else.
I see you've got your computer there. That's good. You can concentrate.
Yes.
Well, that's good. You see, thanks to the hypnosis, well, if you'd had the same surgery under a general anaesthetic, there's every likelihood you'd have found it a bit more difficult to concentrate properly.